Okay, party people. Hello everyone. Welcome to another Spice Monkey cook along. Now, those people who have never done a cook along, you may want to check your Wi-Fi, that you don't have too many Wi-Fi things on, draining things. What often happens is that, well, you know what will happen, it will just drop out. So don't worry if that happens. I will be repeating things ad infinitum. Okay, so we'll make sure that we get through this in one piece. Also, hopefully, we'll be able to record this and stick it up for is that 24 hours or forever now?
24 hours if I get it right. I mean, if I get it wrong, and hopefully forever if I get it right.
Right, okay. Mohnish, my nephew, hello. Nephew in Canada. So everyone, Mohnish is my nephew in Canada. He's escaped from India to Canada. This is most exciting for me. And Oliver Sykes, hello everyone. And Jabs, stick around. I need to have a word with you. So, and my mother, hello, I can see you too. So at least we've got one person I know, two or three I know. So, oh mother, Mohnish is on as well. You can wave to Mohnish. Forget it. So, what we're going to do, last cook along, I did ask people if there was anything that they wanted to learn in particular, and no one gave me the right answer, so we're doing kebabs instead. Some people asked for things which just take too long to do in one hour session. So we're doing kebabs, and we're going to do a potato and spinach dish. And also I just thought, well, what are you going to have with it? We're just going to do a little funky rice dish as well. So a rice and tomato dish. So let's have a quick look at our, is that Jago Cheston in Spain? Hello, Jago. Show me the jamon, man. Let's have a quick look at some of our ingredients. Those of you who have done one of our cook-alongs before, we did a tandoori chicken dish, and we used this box of chaat masala. So chaat masala, a spice blend used for snacks, and it has a number of ingredients which work brilliantly in our kebab dish. Namely, something tangy, which is our green mango powder or amchur. If you haven't got that, use some citrus. It's got minty flavours. So we've got our own mint here. If you haven't got mint, if you haven't got this, then you're going to have mint. And what's the other thing? Oh yes, this thing here, which is kasuri methi. So this is dried fenugreek leaves. Now, if you do have an Indian grocer's near you, or maybe a Middle Eastern one, I urge you to go and buy some fresh fenugreek, because it is a lovely dish. We're making a dish of saag with spinach, okay? And people will use the fresh fenugreek just like a spinachy dish, just like a spinach ingredient, and only it has a slightly more interesting flavour. So the dried leaf is very pungent, very aromatic, and that's the thing which it gives a very distinctive flavour to our dishes. So we've got our mince here. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to start with, hello Colin Grant, the author Colin Grant, whose show is on Speaky Spokey. Numerous times have I mentioned Speaky Spokey. Those of you who've been thinking, oh my God, lockdown is almost over, I haven't read anything. Hello Jack, my nephew in Australia. I haven't read anything. I haven't learnt a new language or an instrument. Go to Speaky Spokey for a dose of culture and making yourself feel good that way. Okay, so Speaky Spokey for all your cultural needs. Okay, just get it there in an hour's hit. Okay, rather than having to read Hard Times by Dickens or something. So let us start with our mince. Okay, so our kebabs. We've got 250 grams of lamb mince. I'm not going to use this because some of you, those of you who did our previous course, you can use this, but I'm going to use the things which are much more common. Okay, this is going to be brilliant if you've got it, but if you haven't got it, we'll still have something which is excellent. So we're going to have some coriander powder, we'll have some mint. Again, don't be measuring anything out just yet. Okay, just put in. I mean, don't panic about the fact that we're not measuring anything out. I've put in roughly a tablespoon of coriander powder. I've put in half a teaspoon of mint. I'm going to have some cumin powder. Okay, so I will have, let's say, a teaspoon of cumin powder. Okay. We're going to have some of our fenugreek leaves. Now, this is really good if you aren't able to get, if you didn't manage to get your fenugreek this time, your fenugreek leaves, your kasuri methi, try. Now that you are able to, you and 5 other people are able to go and hang out in a Indian greengrocer and get hold of some kasuri methi. Okay, so far in here, in our lamb mince, 250 grams, is about a tablespoonful of coriander powder, half a teaspoon of mint. I'm going to put in some salt. I'll put in I don't know, half a teaspoon of salt, okay? And we've got some about half a teaspoon of what else? What did I put in? Coriander powder, cumin powder, mint, and we're going to put in some of this tangy. There's a little lump of it. I don't know what is that. That's half a teaspoon, okay, of our tangy amchur powder. If you haven't got the amchur, use some lime juice, okay, some citrus, something just sharp. What you want in your kebab is something a little bit hot, a little bit tangy, and other nice subtle flavours coming through, like the coriander we're going to put in and the mint. And so we put in, if you're going to be using this, I would say put in a tablespoon of your mixture, okay? We are going to do a little taste test, that's why I'm not worried about this, okay? Because I haven't put a huge amount in. We are going to do a little taste test before we make our kebabs. Then you'll have a little taste. Then you'll know, do I need to put more salt in? Do I want some more heat? Do I want some more tangy things? Do I want to put some more of this in? Okay, so all of these things, you know, as home cooks, don't, just because someone's given you a recipe, don't think, oh, that's it, it's perfect. It's got to be perfect for you. So that means doing a little bit of work, okay? So in here, just as a little recap, because I know my mother, when she'll want to make sure, she said, sorry I missed. We have salt, a little bit of salt, half a teaspoon of salt. We've got a tablespoon of coriander powder. We've got half a teaspoon of tangy amchur powder. We've got half a teaspoon of mint. And we've got about a teaspoon of cumin powder. So a few very common ingredients, you know, at least the cumin, coriander, mint are, okay? So we'll just mish all that up together. We're going to add a few other things. We're going to be adding some onion and some coriander and some chilli, garlic and ginger, okay? So get that all squashed in there. We're going to be adding some wet things, so don't worry if it's sort of a little bit dry looking. Right, I'm just going to wash my hands a little bit. Okay, nowadays, I don't know about you, but I am washing my hands. I mean, I'm taking the government, I don't think I'm taking it too seriously, but I've reduced my hand washing to twice every 30 minutes. I think that's reasonable. Okay, so we're going to add some other flavours. Now, many of you are familiar with my love of a garlic and ginger paste. Okay, so here is a lump of, we're going to make a garlic and ginger paste. Here are 5 very large fat, or 6 cloves of garlic. Okay, so we're going to, if you haven't got a little whizzer, you can just put this in a mortar and pestle. Okay, so we'll just roughly chop these things up. In they go, with an equal amount of garlic and ginger. Those of you who know me also, you'll know that there's no need to be peeling your ginger. Okay, there you go. That's in there, and just give it a little whiz here. Now, you can see I have a really lovely soft paste, okay? But because I'm going to be using this for my garlic and ginger and my potato dish, I'm also going to chuck in a few chilies. So I've got, I don't know what, here are 6 hot, or 7 or 8 hot chilies. Okay, so we're just going to whiz them up with our garlic and ginger. Ah, get in there. So someone has said, what if you, who said that? What if you, oh right, what if you don't have a grinder? What if you don't have a grinder? Mortar and pestle, I think, is the obvious. Now look, here is this lovely greenish garlic and ginger paste. I'm going to take about a lump like that, so that's pretty much a tablespoon. Okay, that's it. And I'm also going to get, so remember that's roughly 50-50 garlic and ginger. I'm going to get some coriander now. And just really finely chop your coriander. Okay, that's in. And what else are we going to have? Some onion. Okay, so let's take just a small amount of onion. This is that much. Okay, so this is about the size of a really generous potato wedge. If you were having roast potato wedge, I'd say what you want is about a couple of tablespoons of finely diced onion. Okay. Now, in the past, I know a lot of you have become quite confused about our clock. Okay, so not quite sure what the time is. This little episode will last about an hour. Hopefully we'll finish before that. And so instead of looking at the clock as a timepiece, we're now using it as something to model the Spice Monkey apron, which one lucky person won the last cook-along we did, and we'll be revealing that very soon. And so here is another one to be won. I think we've got one left. These are beautiful, fair trade, hand woven, no tears have been spilt. Okay, so wonderful aprons there. Here are what we have in here is a mixture of. If you haven't got a grinder, you're going to use really finely diced garlic and ginger, and finely chopped chilies, and finely chopped coriander. We've got in here a little paste I've made. Some of you may be doing that already with garlic, ginger, and chili, and the rest of the mixture, the dry ingredients, were mint, and mince, coriander powder, cumin powder, a little bit of salt, tangy umchor powder. If you haven't got that, then you're going to use some citrus, and we put in the amazing kasuri methi, the dried fenugreek leaves. Okay, so let's scrunch all that in. Now, some of you may just be saving this, or just hanging, just watching us, thinking, oh, I'll do it another time. Let me tell you now, it smells great. I mean, I don't want to sort of overdo it like a lot of your TV program chefs do. Oh, this is fantastic, it's amazing, the best thing ever. But it does, it does smell nice, okay? So take that as meaning, it smells amazing, okay? Here is a lump of our mixture, okay? And we can leave that, okay? They're only going to take 5 or 6 minutes to cook. We'll leave that to let the flavour settle in about 20 minutes time. We will just take enough of this just to make a little small patty, as it were, which we'll just fry, and then we'll taste, and then we'll adjust for chili heat, salt, all that kind of thing. Okay, so that is done. Right, just give it a quick wash. The fresh coriander has gone in. Yes, I chopped that and I put it in. Who said that? Oliver Sykes. Yes. Now look, I have of late started collecting water. All the water that I've been rinsing vegetables and things in, washing, rinsing plates and stuff. And it's amazing how much water we use. So I've started collecting it to water the garden, and it's worth just sort of doing that kind of thing, just to see how much you actually rely on water coming out of the tap for all your needs. So why don't you start saving some water and put it towards the garden. Here we have 500 grams of spinach. Some of you may have been able to get hold of that really lovely large leaf spinach with the thick stems. Fine, we managed just to get hold of this baby leaf spinach. We're going to just blanch it in some hot water. A lot of people believe in blanching leafy vegetables like this because they are rich in oxalic acid, and oxalic acid is something which apparently is an inhibitor for uptake of other useful vitamins. But we're going to cook it anyway, so you can reduce your oxalic acid intake that way, but we want this to be a little bit of a mush. Okay, so the easiest thing I think is just to boil some water. You could, if you want, in fact, everyone do what I'm doing, just boil some water. We haven't got time to boil pots of water. Everyone stick a load of water in a kettle, get your spinach in a large vessel. You're going to we're going to put the spinach in here, chuck the hot water over it, swirl it around for a minute or so, and then we're going to drain it. Okay, so you will need a large pot, okay? A large pot and a kettle. I expect someone might write in, what are you going to do if you don't have the kettle? Then you will boil the water. Okay? So while that's happening, let me tell you about our skewers. Okay, so a lot of you, if you're going to skewer things, what you want is something like this. A nice, here's my finger, a nice broad blade. Okay, those little metal wiry ones, things just fall off them. They won't rotate. Okay, so what you want, get yourself some proper skewers like this. If you've got an oven which has, my oven has some kind of special coating on the back which prevents food sticking to it or something, then you might want to just tick these off, cut the tips off with some masking tape, okay, so you don't scratch the back of your oven. Okay, size it up in your the tray which is going to cut your fat. Okay, you want to make sure we're going to put our skewers of kebabs here. We want them to fit in the tray, so make sure. Okay, get one which has a good handle. I'll take that. Thank you very much. You can always check the handle of your skewer. And you could even, should you wish, do it on the barbecue. Okay. If you don't have any skewers, someone write in and say they don't have any skewers. Someone's bound to. What you can use, what my mother used to do. Hello, Mr. G. She would just get a wooden stick like this, a little wooden spoon, wet it, and then use that to squidge it round, and that will go in the oven and or grill it. And it will slide off. Okay, and you'll have a kebab with a little hole in it. That's the whole point. Okay. So let us get on with our spinach. I said that too early. We're still waiting for the kettle to boil. So let's just, how's everyone's, my hair is bulging out this way, okay, so I'm quite happy with that as a look, so lockdown can continue as far as I'm concerned. Right, here is our boiling water. I'll have a little recap in a moment. So at the moment we're just essentially blanching our spinach. I'll use this wooden spoon just to stir that around. Make sure it gets a really good inundating with all that water. Push it all down, leave it in there for a minute, okay, and then we're going to strain it. Okay, so what have we done so far? We've made our mince base. We've added to our 250 grams of mince, some finely chopped onion. We've added some finely chopped coriander. We have added some garlic and ginger paste and some chilies. If you haven't got a whizzer like I whizzed it up in, just finely chop your garlic and ginger and your chilies. In that goes. We've got some, if you haven't got any fresh green chilies, then you can add some chili powder. Okay, Lucy Ann Lark has said, I'm using peas and lettuce as run out of spinach. Will it be gross? If anyone has an answer to that question, feel free to answer her. No, it won't be, is the answer to that, Lucy. Peas and lettuce is a well-known Indian combination. We call it potato pea and lettuce. Okay, so it'll be fine. Okay, so here is my spinach is pretty good. You know, that took up about 30 seconds there. Thank you, Lucy Ann Larkin. Lucy Ann Larkin is actually a private detective. So if lockdown has made you suspicious about people's behaviour, then I don't know how you were able to contact her. You can, well, wave at her anyway. So look, we've got softened spinach here, and now I'm going to strain it. So just as a recap, I mean, I'm not a nutritionist, but oxalic acid prevents apparently uptake of vitamins. But if you don't have to do this, you could just fry this in your potatoes and that would destroy it as well. But we are going to make this into a little bit of a puree, so hence the blanching. Okay, so my team will deal with that over there. My team involves lovely Helen and lovely Anya. Anya's flat on her back reading her friends' messages, so she's out of the game pretty much. So we've got our kebab mixture. We have blanched our spinach, okay? And now, why don't we deal with our potatoes? So we can get our potato dish on the go. Now, is everyone with me so far? We've got lamb on the go, we've got spinach blanching, and we're about to start our potatoes. We just need a strainer. Okay, so here are 400 grams of potatoes. Jabs, how you doing? Jab's with us. It's excellent that Jab's with us because we might as well announce that last week we did, last cook along, we did say, this is not you who's won Jabs, by the way. We did say send us your photos. Oh no, it is you who's. Look, we did say send a photo of your the dish that you cooked, and Jabs sent in a brilliant al fresco image of his back of the fridge bread with aubergine pea curry. Okay, so Jabs, this is yours. Okay, so we'll get your details and we'll send that up, I believe, to the north of England. So gives your address. So just in case anyone is thinking, what the hell? Huh? He's getting that? Well, you can do this. You can win one if you send a fabulous picture in of your stuff which we're doing now. Okay, so hello Joanna Elson. Have you cooked the potatoes? No, we're about to cook the potatoes. Okay, so these are 400 grams of, you could if you wanted to parboil them, but these are just in the raw. Okay, so what we need is some, how have we prepped them? How have we prepped? Who said that?
Well, they're peeled.
No, they're not peeled.
Size?
They're not peeled. Instructions were given out. They're that size. Which is, here's my thumb. Okay. There. Okay. We're just going to get some oil.
I'll do it.
Now, we have our oil. Many previous cook-along people will know that we have what my mother calls the usual suspects. So in case there's anyone here who's not a cook-along person, then our usual suspects are the spices we're going to use as a kind of spicy base to all our dishes. And in this case, in my mother's case, they involve having mustard seeds, okay, and cumin seeds, and turmeric, okay, and a little bit of coriander powder. And our fresh usual suspects are garlic, ginger, and chilies. Okay, so I've used all my chilies in the thing which I've whizzed up. Okay, so garlic, ginger, chilies, mustard, cumin and turmeric. So what we're going to do now, we're going to cook our potatoes. So we're going to take 3 tablespoons of oil. Okay, actually 3.5. Okay. If you went to 4, that's fine. That's up to you. 3.5 tablespoons of oil. We're going to put in. So for those of you who aren't used to that, for example, we've got Nicola Carianis' joint. She might, let's wait, actually, she might never have cooked Indian food before, and she might be now slightly alarmed that she's going to burn them. So we're going to put in our spices cold, and we're going to start off with our mustard seeds. Okay, nothing else, just oil and cold mustard seeds. And I've got about a teaspoon of mustard seeds. It's gone into the oil. Okay, and there it goes. Right, and what we're going to do, we're going to wait for the, I'm using this thing here, by the way, which is a wok, okay? And I also have something which I can fit over it, which is a lid. I'm using the wok because it's round bottomed, okay? So everything, all the oil will pool at the bottom. So, Elsie Hunter Rawlings, use something which is large enough, which you can cover with a lid, and is deep enough for your spinach and your potatoes. Okay, so we're going to put our mustard seeds in. We're just going to wait for them to pop. There's the cat prowling around. Look at this, what a lovely apron. Beautiful logo. Jonathan, I hope you have many a happy cooking moment with it. You don't have to wear it for cooking. You can wear it down to the shops, whatever. Listen out for the mustard. When your mustard seeds start popping, you have a nice happy chorus of mustard seeds popping, then we're going to turn our gas off, okay? Just so that we know that there's no burning of spice. I'm going to wear my jacket, okay, because I don't want to splash oil on my t-shirt. So we're just going to bring the camera over. It's not popping yet. What you can hear here, you come over here anyway. You can often be deceived by this sound. What's going on there is a little bit of moisture in the cracks in the metal and something, and that is a little bit of moisture which is burning off, okay? It's not the mustard seeds popping. You'll see the mustard seeds popping soon because they will leak out. Okay, so you can hear it subsiding, and that will disappear, and then we can concentrate on the mustard seeds popping. Don't be alarmed by this little splash of hot oil. It's nothing. Now, those of you who are good stuff, Jonathan. Those of you who are having a rice dish, I think the instructions were just to soak the rice. Okay, so that can still be soaking away there. We'll deal with that in a moment. My mustard seeds are now starting to pop. Okay, so we could bring the camera back in for those people who've never done this, and we'll see that the mustard seeds are starting to pop, and you'll see that they're starting to rise up. The mustard seeds, okay? So the difference is the water burning off, and now we've got the mustard seeds popping. You can see that they're coming up. The ones which have popped are floating up. Okay, so we're going to turn the gas off. Stay there. We're going to turn the gas off. Gas is off now, and we're putting in a similar amount of cumin seeds, and they're fizzing and foaming away there. All very nice. Okay, and now I'm going to get my garlic and ginger paste, and that's gone in with the chilies. Okay, I'm going to put a couple of about 4 teaspoons of that mixture. Okay, and now we're going to cook that down. Make sure it spreads around all of that. It disperses in the oil, and it's quite stingy, so you want to watch your eyes. Okay, well done, H. And now I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Salt is up to you. I'd start off by adding, I don't know, half a teaspoon to start off with. So what you should have is either a mixture of pieces of garlic, finely chopped pieces of garlic and ginger, or a paste with those spices in. Okay, and now I'm going to add about a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Okay, you get that beautiful colour change. My gas is still off. Okay, shock horror, we're cooking with no gas. I mean, cooking is a thing which separates us from the animals. I've gone back to animal form, I'm using no heat. Okay, but I've got this lovely mixture of the turmeric in there, and I'm using the same amount of, about a teaspoon of coriander powder. That's gone in. Okay, so here we have a perfectly lovely oily base to start dealing with our potatoes. Okay, so I'm going to bring that up to a bubble, and the reason for doing that is no one has burnt their spices, have you? I mean, wave to me if you've burnt your spices, in which case, what can you do? Okay. So look, this has come up to a boil, and I'm now putting my potatoes into that bubbling mixture, folding it all in. Okay, that's all beautifully coated in it. We can bring the camera in, okay, because we've got Elsie here, and Elsie's one of our younger members of the cook along. How old are you, Elsie? 14? When you're 14, let's face it, a little bit stupido, okay? So we want to make sure you're totally, no, obviously you're not. And have a look, can you see? We've got this lovely mixture here, coating all the potatoes, okay? Beautiful. Okay, now hopefully everyone has got something which looks like this, because I'm now going to put the lid on and turn the gas down. Okay, in fact, I'm going to take that away, and I'm going to cook that backstage on a low heat for about 10 minutes. Okay. So we've got potatoes cooking. Every now and then, we love Elsie. We do love Elsie. Who's Joanna Elson? We should show you around here. Anyway, you wave to Elsie. Every now and then we're going to stir our potatoes, and in about 6 or 7 minutes. We're going to cook them with the lid off, just so they dry out. Okay. So let us finish off dealing with our spinach. All you're going to do is squeeze the water out. That can go back to the garden. Okay, I think that's quite good circulation of water there. What comes from the garden goes back to the garden. These didn't come from my garden. We'll find out which garden and we'll take the water there. But loads of water coming out. Wow. Okay, do what you can, as much as you can. Okay, I mean this could go on for a long time. Right. Did the onions, someone has written, who's written that? Jerry Bates, what onions are you talking about? Jerry, where are you? What onions are you talking about? The onions we put in the mince or the no onions we put in the potatoes? Let me know. So just as a recap, we have heated a pan of oil. We had 3.5 tablespoons of oil. In it, we put in a teaspoon of mustard seeds. We put in a teaspoon, we let them pop. We turn down the gas. We put in our cumin seeds. We put in our mixture of garlic, ginger, whether it's chopped or ground up to a paste. And we put in some chilies, whether they're chopped or whizzed up into a paste. And then we put our potatoes in. No, then we put in our turmeric and coriander powder. Then we put our potatoes in. The onions, where are they? Nowhere. Okay, so we're forgetting the onions. We have just put a lid on. We're going to fold them and turn the potatoes every now and then. So no onions is basically, you're right, is the answer to that. And here we have our ball of spinach. Okay.
There were onions on the potato ingredient list.
Was there onions? Oh Jesus! I mean that teaches me for being slightly sarcastic, doesn't it? There are onions on the potato. If you want to have onions, then it's too late. I mean, what you would do, you would just saute them in that mixture, and we now have to send a written apology to Jerry Bates and anyone else who is waiting for the onions to go in. Here is our spinach. Okay. So now we are going to wait for our potatoes to be about 3/4 cooked. Then we're going to fold in our spinach, cover it and cook it till it's done. Okay, if you want, just to make up for the fact that we didn't put any onions in the potatoes, we can chuck some tomatoes in. Okay, so that will, I mean if you want, you could put some onions in later, or you could fry some onions. Forget the onions, leave the onions out of it. We are going to move back to our mince. Okay, so the mince did have, unless there's another ingredient I've missed out, did have lamb mince. It had mint or our chopped masala mixture. We've put it, we're not using this because I know some of you won't have it. Some of you who do have it, they are going to be using that. What did I say? A couple of tablespoons. We have put in coriander powder, cumin powder, chopped coriander, dried mint, amchur, the tangy amchur powder, which is dried mango. If you haven't got that, you're going to be using some citrus, and we've put in a mixture of garlic, ginger and chilli. So look, what you should do is get a small frying pan. Elsie, I know you've got a small frying pan kicking around there, and then just, we've got 20 minutes left, so we're just going to take a small little lump like that. And I'm just going to cook it. This is just a little taster. Okay, from this you'll know whether you need to adjust it. Okay. So here's a little tiny baby burger. Okay, so we'll just get that hot. And then we're going to deal with the rice. Then we're going to deal with the kebabs. If you don't have good skewers, use a wooden stick. What your restaurant people would do, they would normally make their mixture like this, and then they'd chuck it in the fridge. Okay, apparently it adheres better to your whatever you're attaching it to if it's cooler. Okay, so look, my pan is hot. Little sizzle there. I haven't put any oil in. Just press down. It'll only take a couple of minutes to cook. Shall we have a little close up here? Those of you who are using, now you could be using corn. If you want to do a vegetarian version, use some corn. I meant to mention that a lot earlier. And let's have a little. Okay, go around the edges. Turn down your heat, mine's way too high. Joey, so I hope you can see there's onion in here. Look, just to prove there's an onion. That's a very good point. I mean, how many people actually follow their own recipes? I mean, you can tweak these things, and I guess normally I would put onion in, but today, just to mess with your heads, I've left it out. Okay, so look, this is now almost done. It feels to me it's still a little bit soft. So I'm going to just give it a little bit longer. Okay, so I'd say that's hot right through. So I'm going to turn off the gas. I'm going to stir my potatoes. Everyone else, you can just flip that out, let it cool down. You just want your potatoes on you want to hear a sizzle, so make sure the heat is not too low. You want to hear a little gentle sizzle. So pleased for Jonathan that he won this amazing, utterly amazing. Jonathan, we'll throw in the clock as well, since it doesn't work. Okay, so we will just let that cool down.
Can you answer Elsie's question?
Elsie, what is the question? Yes, it does. Okay, so Elsie, that was a piece of the mince. Okay, the potatoes are on the stove, the spinach is over there. This was a piece of the mince. We made a little burger of it. Okay, and we just cooked a little bit, just so we can taste it. Okay, I'm going to taste mine now. Obviously, you don't really, if things are too hot, you can't quite taste it well enough. So try and let it cool down, but we've got to move on. So I'm going to taste mine now. I think probably I'll offer it to my number 2. I think it could have a little bit more, a tiny bit more salt. I think is no, she likes it. Okay, so we're good with this. Okay.
Very nice.
You guys, taste yours. I think you should have a little bit of salt in it. You guys.
You're going to add it anyway.
That is. So, have a little taste, and I think you could actually have a little bit more mintiness in it. A little bit more mint. And to be honest, I could do with a little bit more tang. Okay, so all of these things you do as home cooks. That is the nature of home cooking. It's just fiddling around till you make something which is nice and edible. Okay, that's gone in there. I might even, just for the sheer hell of it, have a little bit more of our meshing. Okay, just a little bit more meshing going in. Okay, we're done. Okay, so last dish which needs to be cooked, we've got some rice. Keep an eye on your spuds. So let's get our, we've got a pan, we've got a pot, okay. Me and mine has just joined, where have you been? Let's wave back to you, wave. Here is our rice, it's 200 grams I think it was, we've soaked it, rinsed it. In a pan, we're going to take just enough oil just to cover the bottom of the pan, the pot with some oil. Okay, not yet Athena, we're still cooking our potatoes. They want to be like 75% cooked, okay? So here is some oil, and I might just take 1.5 tablespoons, okay? Just covered the bottom. I'm just going to heat the oil. We're going to have a few simple usual suspects. So could we have some garam masala? So whatever spices you want. Now, some of you would have, Oliver's Nick, our mini burger has fallen apart. No, don't. I don't know why it's fallen apart. You just made a little burger, a little patty. It should have, did anyone else's fall apart? It should have just remained as a little patty, just for something for you to taste. Whereas, let's have some. We're just going to heat up some mustard seeds. So a little bit of mustard seed I'm putting in. About half a teaspoon. Same thing's going to happen. We are going to wait for them to pop, and then I'm going to go in with some cumin seeds. I've got here some coriander seeds. I'll put those in. Okay, and what other leftover bits I've got? I've got a few bits of onion here left over. Ah, Joey, I could have given you those bits of onion. Look, if you've got a little bit of onion, if you want an onion and tomato, but if you've got a little bit of onion, we're going to fry that off. Use up these things. Where's my... Okay, so mustard seeds are about to start popping. If you've got some more exotic spices, if you want something which is a little bit more flavoursome, a bit more action going on in the rice, then use some cloves, cardamoms, those kind of things. Okay, so my mustard seeds are popping, so I'm going to put in a similar amount of cumin seed. They're fizzing and foaming now. You don't need to see what's going on in my pot, you've seen this bit before. Okay, turn down your gas. Let's have a few coriander seeds, not too many. Okay, so I've got a mixture just of a few simple spices. Okay, now because Joey's here, we're going to put in some onion. Okay, that's gone. It's quite nice to have a bit of garlic. Okay, here's a garlic clove. I'm just going to chop that up fairly chunkily. These are all optional. You know, it's just the rice. You could just do plain rice. Okay, so that's gone in. Okay, I'm going to put my rice in. So we've got this rice washed and soaked, just mixing around in all of this spicy mixture. I'm going to add a little bit of turmeric powder. Turn down my gas. I'm turning the gas off. I've got some tomatoes here. There's 4 mini tomatoes. I'm just going to stir those in. The tomatoes will obviously add a little bit of moisture to your rice. Now, in terms of how much water you need, it's always a little bit of a problem for people. You know, their rice is too wet or it's too dry. Basically, you have to trust yourself. drain the rice first. Yeah, I have drained my rice. Okay, so I'm just going to get some water, and I'm going to pour it until it's come up to the top of my, well, halfway up my finger. Okay, that finger, get your first finger and just make sure the water, you could have warm or tepid water. I've used that kettle water. Okay, and just make sure the water sits halfway up your finger. That might mean about to the top of your fingernail. Okay, so you stick that in, or halfway is out. That's really hot. You need a little bit more. And that's halfway up my finger. Okay, so then stir everything in, add a little bit of salt, and we're going to put a medium-sized lid, please, and bring it up to a vigorous boil. Okay, bring it up to a vigorous boil. And then put the lid on, cook it on the lowest heat, 15 minutes, done. Okay, let's bring our potatoes back. So here are our spuds. And these they still need a bit of cooking, so let's get on with that. They can still be cooked on. My potato is still a little bit firm. Does the water cover the rice? Yes, it covers the rice. Make sure the water comes halfway up your first finger. Let me show you my finger. Here's my finger.
So where's the rice?
Okay, this other finger is the rice, and the water is halfway up. Okay, so if we had a pen, actually the turmeric, there's a little plimsoll line there. So look, we've got a pen. Brilliant. Okay, so look, this is the top, this bit here, this finger here is the rice, and this is the water halfway up my finger over the rice. We're bringing it to a vigorous boil, then down to the lowest heat, cook it for 15 minutes, lid on, don't touch it, okay? Just leave the rice alone with the lid on.
I'm touching the lid.
Okay, has anyone here got some slightly soft potatoes? These potatoes are almost cooked. Okay, mine are still halfway, so I'm going to continue with them with the lid on. Okay, so let's go back to our kebabs. If you've got kebabs now, which you've tasted, you've fiddled around with, you've adjusted for salt and seasoning and all that kind of stuff, get your mince. If you're using a wooden stick like this, okay, who's using a wooden stick? Is anyone using a wooden stick? Okay, just grab a load of your mixture. I mean, you don't want too much of your mixture, okay, because it will. You want kebabs which are sort of svelte looking, as they say in India, svelte. Okay, so just get your. And that to me looks pretty good. Okay, it's not falling off, Oliver Sykes. Okay, there. Okay, if you're using, has anyone got a thick skewer like this, then H, you need to put the grill on, please. So whack your grill on high. I mean, essentially you want, for each kebab, you want something which is, I mean, I'm not golf, everyone always talks about things in, I used to play marbles a lot, so this is like you had the gob, wasn't it? Jesus, I've forgotten all these things. Oh my God. So you had the single and you had a double. This is like a double. This is a quadruple, okay? It's bigger than a golf ball, okay? So, marble, I was brilliant at marbles. My eyes were good in those days. So look, we've got something like that. I mean, you know, you could just think, I can't be bothered with kebab, I'll just do burgers. Okay, in which case, you know what to do. But here we have a kebab. I think it is of a proper kebab, Sikh kebab length. Okay, it's not falling off. That's with the rounded one. Here's a square skewer. This is one of those bladed ones. It's going to take about 5 minutes cooking this, and it will be cooked and rotated, and the assistant will do that. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left before the hour. Okay, it doesn't. We'll still be continuing. We might go off screen. Okay, but don't worry, we'll be back. So don't disappear. I mean, we may disappear, but you just stay where you are. Anyway, by the time if we do lose you, the kitchen will be immaculate. The cooking surface will be immaculate, and we'll be able to have a little recap. So here are our.
I'm not going to put the wooden spoon under the grill.
No, you forget.
I'm going to take that one off, but they have to take them off. Don't they?
This is going to. Yes, you are going to put it under the grill. Okay. So look, put your kebabs, take your tray, put your kebab skewers on top of the tray. Okay, here's our skewers, all ready to go. Okay. Right, okay, so back to our potatoes. Those are skewering away. Potatoes are nicely done now. H, can we have a... Let's get our... I'm going to put in a few pieces of tomato. Oh, we're just going to show people. Okay, so if we can get the camera just to see our potatoes. So you can see we've got lovely golden, crunchy, slightly nice bony brown bits. Okay, a couple of pieces of tomato gone in, and now in with our spinaccio. Okay, so a nice simple way of using up spinach if you're growing spinach, or you just feel like the urge to have a Popeye moment in your life, then this is it. Okay, I'm going to turn that down low, and we're going to just cover that. Well, you don't have to cover it, you can just make sure all that spinach is distributed around those potatoes. Okay, that is looking good. So, the rice is going to be done in how long? The rice is done in 10 minutes. Okay, so we've got 33 seconds remaining. So look, everyone, you stay where you are. We're just going to clean down everything, and we'll be back on the other side of this 25 seconds. Okay, and then we'll finish off.